What's happening? This is Chet from the Fine Art Playlist here, just with a quick look at the Armoured Edition of Batman Arkham City on the Nintendo Wii U. A few people have asked me which version's the best. Is this as good as the other versions on PC, 360 and PS3? And the short answer is no, it's not. But the only reason that's the case is because there are frame rate issues throughout the game. They don't cause too many problems, and they're actually quite infrequent, and most of them are restricted to the cutscenes, but by default that makes it a lesser game than the other versions. There are a few issues during gameplay. I mean, when you're flying really high over Gotham and there's a lot on the screen, that it stutters a little bit, and if there's a lot of enemies, like up to 15-20 enemies on screen, it struggles a little again. It's not massively detrimental, but as I said, that is a problem. But despite those problems, don't think that this is a shoddy port. It's not. It's still the best. It was my favourite game of 2011, and it's every inch the great game that it was back then. So if you haven't played it, don't hesitate. If you have, there are still reasons to come on board and have another look at it.
What the hell are you doing?
Obviously, the best exclusive Wii U features come courtesy of the Wii U gamepad, and the gamepad for the most part replicates the back computer, and it actually makes the game a lot less stop-start than it was. You know, when you were playing through on one of the other formats, anytime something happened, whether you got an upgrade or a stat upgrade, a weapon upgrade, or you wanted to look at the map, or you wanted to switch between gadgets, or, you know, if you'd meet an enemy for the first time, it'd come up with the profile page and all that stuff. That kind of stopped the game, and now it all comes up on the gamepad. You can ignore it if you want, but so it works. It really does work rather well. And the gamepad kind of feels like the back computer. The fact that it's separate does make it feel like a device rather than just a pad, which is really cool. And there are some really nice features. I mean, the hacking minigames work great. When you're scanning crime scenes, it works much like it does in Zombie U, where you can either hold the pad out and sort of move it around and use the gyroscope, or you can just use the thumbsticks. But yeah, it works perfectly well. And there are some very, very nice, very cool sort of little flourishes as well. So for example, when you first play as Batman after the intro, and you use the back computer, it asks you to scan your fingerprint on the screen. It's very cool. It's a small thing, but it's quite nice. Also, the sound is just very well designed. If you're flying over Gotham and you fly over some goons talking beneath you, the sound comes through on the gamepad, and then it slowly bleeds into the TV as you approach them, which is a really nice effect. So aside from the frame rate issues, it is actually a very, very polished production. It's not a sloppy port at all. Aside for other sort of exclusive things, there's the Battle Armoured Tech mode, or the BAT mode, which is something that they've put in for beginners. As you fight in combat, you build this small meter, and once that meter is filled up, you can basically power up the bat suit and sort of supercharge it so that you've got a short period where you can deal massive damage. It's not so, if you've played the game before in another format and you're going back in, it's something you'll forget is there, like I did. It's not really of any use to anybody, but it is a nice, quite subtle way to sort of introduce beginners to the combat. All of the stuff that's on the Game of the Year edition across the other formats is here, so all of the Combat and Predator challenges that were released as DLC, the new challenge maps, Nightwing and Robin are playable, all the Catwoman content, which originally came with a code for people who bought the game new on other formats, that's there. The superb Harley Quinn's Revenge story DLC's on there, and that is fantastic. And incidentally, if you're thinking perhaps of picking this up and you've already played the game and you want to go through the story mode again at your own pace, and you haven't played Harley Quinn's Revenge, you can access that you can jump straight into that from the main menu, which is pretty handy as well. So yeah, it's the same game as the Game of the Year editions with some very, very neat gamepad features, but the only problem with it is there are frame rate issues. They're not prevalent, they're not massively problematic, but they do actually, at first I thought they were just in the cutscenes, but they're not. They do occur during combat. If you're, some of the big battles, a little bit, there is a little bit of stuttering in the frame rate, and when you're flying high above Gotham. But by and large, it's the same great game, and if you haven't played it, don't hesitate. It's just not the best version of the game. And with the Game of the Year edition available for as little as half as much as the Armoured edition, then yeah, you might have to think long and hard about which version to get. But nevertheless, this is a fantastic port. A couple of problems, but by and large, it's great. If you haven't played Arkham City and you have a Wii U, it's a must-buy, no doubt about it. But yeah, that's it. Thanks very much. Hope this has helped you in some way. If you're curious about the Armoured Edition, if you could hit like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate it if you enjoyed the video. And yeah, keep an eye on the channel, fineartplaylist.com, all that stuff. Yeah.